I had read the script years ago, and it had always sort of been in the back of my mind. And then I got this call from my agent that was like, Olivia Wilde wants to have lunch with you. And I was like, what? But how does she know who I am? That's insane. And we met and just had the greatest time. And at the time, we were both on Broadway. She was doing 1984 and I was doing Hello Dolly. So it felt really cool. We like met up before a show in Midtown and had this like pre-show little like tea and talked about our lives and ourselves and our education and the way we think. And then we talked about the movie, and she just is so smart and so clear about her vision for this movie. And so once I knew that she was directing it, I was so excited and honored that she thought of me for Molly. I think the message of the film is that we all judge each other too quickly, and we judge ourselves too quickly, and sort of, without knowing it, put ourselves in boxes and put others in boxes. And throughout the movie, Molly and Amy really realize that they think of themselves as bright, inclusive girls, and then they realize that they've actually been ostracizing a lot of people from their lives that they could have had as friends this whole time, their whole, high school experience, and vice versa. These, other people judge them and come to that conclusion too. So I think it's a message of inclusivity and not judging a book by its cover, and that you can be smart and fun, which is really novel. Molly is a intensely academic human being. She's the valedictorian of her senior class. She's going to Yale. She values, other than Amy, she values schoolwork #1. And she's very clear and very certain about what she wants in life. She wants to become a Supreme Court justice, and she sees the exact steps that she needs to get there, and she's not going to let anyone or anything break that path. And she thinks that, in order to do that, she can't enjoy herself, or that's never even been on the table. And then they go on this adventure where she realizes that she's been wrong. For the most part, the movie sticks to reality, but there are these incredible sort of fantasy moments that either Molly or Amy will have, which I feel like are so unique and so fun and such a beautiful way to get into the minds of these characters in a really creative, different, unique sort of take. Olivia is the greatest. She's so confident. And, I think you can't help but, when you're with such incredible directors as I've been lucky enough to have in my very, very short career, I just feel so inspired, and you can't help but think, like, what would I do in that situation, or how would I handle this? And with Olivia, it's just her confidence and her steadiness, and she's so calm and chill and just owns the room in this quiet, elegant way, and she knows exactly what everything's supposed to be, and she feels like a part of every department. I truly believe that Billie Lourd as Gigi and Noah Galvin as George and Austin, I could literally name every single person. It's iconic casting. And also, for me, like, Molly Gordon, who plays AAA, is my best friend in the world. Like, we've known each other for 12 years, and she's my best friend. And her and Noah Galvin are best friends. So many people in the cast I've known for so long. And Billie Lourd and I went to high school together. So it's just like this gaggle of friends. And then the boys have become such good friends, like Nico and Eduardo and Mason and Scott. They all hang out all the time. So it's just like, it's been really fun and warm, and yeah, now it's making me sad that it's ending.
At the beginning of the movie, you meet Amy, and she's a very by-the-book girl, follows the rules, really gets great grades, and she and Molly realized that everyone in high school kind of like did school and they partied and they had a lot of fun, and Amy just sort of did school and didn't go out and have fun. And so she decides, by the persuasion of Molly and also herself, I think Amy has definitely always wanted to, go out and have a good time, but has always been afraid to. And so Molly and Amy decide to go out, and Amy decides to go on that journey with her. What made me want to be a part of Booksmart was reading the script. I read this script a while ago, and I immediately thought that it was such a refreshing movie for teenagers in general, but also for young women, and also being an actress, reading two roles like Molly and Amy. I had never read a role like Amy before. I had never read such strong characters before. And it was really, really cool. And I thought, oh my God, I want to be a part of it so bad. I think I've never read a best friend comedy like this before. I think that's what stood out to me the most when I first read the movie. It's like, you don't see roles like this where the best friends are they're so close and it feels so real. I haven't seen a movie in a while where I'm like, oh, that's like me and my best friend. That's like me and my sister. This movie reminds me a lot of me and my sister. It reminds me a lot of our relationship and friends that I have in real life. And I think that's what's so special about this movie. I've never worked with a cast, too, that I've thought that, like, literally everyone is doing this, their own special, they're bringing all their own special elements to each character. And on page, the script was awesome, but they have brought it to life in a way that I never imagined. It's been so cool. It's been so cool. Olivia, I can't even, like, I'm gonna start crying if I, like, get into it too much, because she's so inspiring. She's so inspiring. It's so cool to see a lady in charge, honestly, as a young woman. Every day I have learned so much from her, and she wouldn't even have to say anything. Just watching her work as a director and in that environment has just been really, really inspiring. And even since the beginning, like, I remember when we'd meet up during prep, she just has so many ideas. It's crazy. I don't know how her brain works. I really don't. Like, she has so many ideas constantly flowing through her brain, but she's also been, like, really cool when we're working on scenes and filming. She's really cool with, like, giving us the ideas, but also having the trust in the actors to just allow us to do what we want to do with the characters, and really, really trusting everyone, which is really, really cool.
Olivia is the perfect actor's director. I think it's because she is an actress. She's hands-on but gives us space. Olivia's great. I really hope she continues to direct, because she's very genuine. She's so upfront and giving, and, like, she's not one of those people that's like, oh, 2 takes, we got it, move on, in the sense of, like, we're in a rush, but she'll take her time. Like, yeah, we may not have all the time in the world, but she still takes the time that we need to get the take that we want. And I really value that. For an actor to be able to have multiple takes to try so many different things, and, like, to be able to learn from all those different options that we're doing is so valuable. Like, I feel like from the one day I was on set, I felt like I learned, like, a year's worth of like actors knowledge. My first day on Booksmart, I was like, oh my God, youth, like, young people, women, wow. And it was such a breath of fresh air to be working with such talented people. Like, I think Nico and I are the youngest on set, but we're pretty much all the same age, but, like, everyone is so fresh and so good. There's no doubt in my mind that everyone in this film is going to go on to do incredible things.
Theo is not a complete idiot, but he has, flunked a couple grades here and there. So he is at an age that is not necessarily the norm within high school, but his brain and his capacity and his gears shift at the normal rate of a high school student, though. Olivia is liberating. Like I said, she lets us breathe comfortably and perform, you know, what each and every one of us, like, specifically holds near and dear to us as talent, I think. So I think her methods of directing and stuff and filmmaking is it's very open-minded.
She elevated this stylistically, visually. It's not the sort of indie teenage comedy that I think maybe people would think it would be. It looks big and amazing, and there's action and stunts and comedy, and what Jason has done, you know, is incredible. And so I think that this is now a wide reach, like, bigger movie than I think any of us ever really imagined because of her vision for it.
I would describe Booksmart as a movie about the two smartest people at in their graduating high school class, realizing that they've spent too much time worrying about what was next to have fun in high school, and decide on the last day to amend that as much as they can. She's a good judge of I think character and vibe and talent, and I think that's a big part of directing. You know, putting people together from different backgrounds to have an end goal of making something interesting, both in front of the camera, behind the camera, and, you know, I think allows people to be themselves, and maybe even part of themselves that they're not totally aware of yet, and allow them to grow into that and blossom into that, and, you know, gives plenty of room for people to be creative, and, you know, and is as delighted and dazzled by people in, you know, all regards when they do such a thing. I think, you know, she's as big of a cheerleader as she is a director. It's really enjoyable to see their chemistry come alive, and you know, how they're different, but how they how they bounce off each other, and how they, you know, sound and look together. It's a fun chemistry, and I noticed that. I felt that was going on because we cared about the characters even in the table read a couple weeks you know, before they had started shooting it. So yeah, it's fun.
Just in general, as a woman and as a person of color, I have always wanted to see myself sort of represented on screen. And I think seeing two very smart young ladies managing, you know, the day-to-day of high school, while also being very upfront about their sexuality, while also going on this really great emotional journey and having this really fun, crazy party night, I think that that would have been exciting to me, and I would have ran to the theater to see that. She's just in her element, directing. She's in her zone. I like sometimes to look at her looking at the monitor, and she's just in it, you know? This is what she wants to do, and this is something that she was supposed to do. So it's been great to work with someone who has that sort of magic and that spark of just being excited every day with every take and with every scene about what we're doing. I am obsessed with Beanie Baby and KK, aka Kaitlyn. They are very funny, and just, they're great actresses, and I just like their faces, and I like their style, and I like how sweet and genuine they are, and I like their love for each other, and I like the energy that they bring to the set and to the cast and the crew. I really want people to have fun when they watch this film. I want them to fall in love with the cast. When they watch this film, I want them to see that Olivia is a badass director and is super dynamic and great, and I want them to be excited about friendship and female friendship and coming of age. That is all, like, those are little parts of the movie that I know will translate really well to viewers.
Booksmart is about two really smart, really kick-ass girls who responsibly kind of in high school decided they were just going to focus on school and focus on their futures and have fun later. And they think that they made the right decision. They're really pleased with it until they learn that all the kids that they had judged for being cool or for partying also are pretty smart and got into good colleges, and they realize they're the only kids who chose one of the two. And the night before graduation, realize they only have one night left to try and have fun as well, so they can also show up to college smart and fun. It's about a big group of high schoolers who are all interesting and unique and dynamic in their own ways, and you get to know all of these different characters in a big ensemble.
Nick's one cool mamma jamma, and because of that, since I'm not, I had to really think about what it was that made people like that so cool in high school. And one of the things was he's just so, I don't want to say easygoing because I feel like that's like a really simple way of putting it. He's so accepting and, inviting in what he does that sometimes he may, let's say overlook that, sometimes you just can't do everything. Can't please everyone. My dad was a big, that's what he did. He breakdanced in the, 80s and to a degree 90s. And because of that, he knew he wanted his kids to dance, or at least learn how to be fluid. And so I breakdanced from age 6 to age 11. We'd do little wave things and stuff like that. But I wasn't a very athletic kid, to say the least, in that age range. And because I was so, I'll say, heavy, it made it hard to do a lot of those moves for me. And I also didn't really want to dance, so I wasn't really eager to cut a rug or just spin on my head. So I would just, I mostly did the little dances that made me look adorable. But no, I've never done choreographed, never done jazz or contemporary, which all of that is in there. So hopefully it doesn't look too bad, but we'll see. Olivia is brilliant beyond necessary. The way she thinks is just so indicative of who she is, both in as an actress, as a writer, as a director. She sort of composes things as they happen, and the way she sort of conducts her actors and her background is all done almost like a symphony orchestra. It's crazy. She'll come up and you'll see it work across her face and in her eyes, and she'll take maybe half a second, and what would take a lot of other directors, nights of editing and actually seeing it, and she'll be like, why don't we do it like this? Or can we do it this way? Or that was great, let's try it like this. And it's inspiring as well as, insightful, and it just, I think, created an environment for me, and I'm assuming all the other actors, to just play and have fun with the characters.
My name's Molly Gordon, and I play AAA in Booksmart. And AAA is a girl that's a senior in high school, very close with mostly men. She's very sexual and not, afraid to talk about it, and very smart. And I think it's cool to have a character that has both of those things because they don't have to be mutually exclusive. Olivia's been absolutely amazing. She's truly one of the smartest people I've ever met. And I've also haven't ever really seen a new director or a lot of other directors just be as confident as she is. I mean, this movie could have been shot double the amount of time that we actually have to film it, and she's just so comfortable and on it. And we don't have the time to do that many takes, but she knows she has it. She also, from being an actor for so long, she really knows how to talk to actors and how to give direction. She's just been like a dream. And I also feel like she's really been enjoying it. So that's been beautiful to watch. And I know that she's going to continue to do more of this. What actually Olivia did is she took a movie about high school kids and made it something even deeper than just like a high school fun movie. It feels like a movie that's about friendship and how you move on with a friend. You know, it's so hard when you make a good friend in high school and then you go to college and then you make a good friend in college and then you start life. Or, you know, friendships are hard to change when you go into new chapters in your life. And I think this movie is really about, you know, friendship and the power of that. And also, I think all the parts that we all have, she's made them feel full and like real people and not really like the stereotypes, like a deeper thing.
George is every theater kid that you hated in high school. He's really obnoxious, takes himself way too seriously. Very much like Alan is, you know, lives very comfortably in his little flamboyant world. Is all about a look, you know, that's look with an L-E-W-K. Look, he's all about the looks. He's a very curated person, and being the director of the like student-run theater program at Crockett High School, he has an agenda, you know, and he will get things done. What attracted me to this film is that it is I think stories about females need to get told. I think stories about, you know, a story that celebrates like female friendship is a story that needs to be told right now. And also Olivia Wilde's just the fucking coolest, so I wanted to hang out with her.
Olivia is so rad. She is so rad. She makes you feel so comfortable on set. Every morning, she welcomes you with a nice warm hug. You know, you get in here feeling all cozy. You know, you're in a good mood. I don't want to sound cheesy or anything, but never judge a book by its cover. Molly and Amy turned out to be incredible girls, and Tanner never expected that. Again, he was intimidated by them, by their sternness and their passion towards working and not wanting to go out and have fun. You know, he was intimidated by that. But when he gets to know them better, they kill it. They're so rad. So, yeah, I mean, cheesy as it is, never judge a book by its cover. If you have people like that in your school, invite them in, get to know them. Because they could be like those two girls. And that would be sick.
I read the script for Booksmart and laughed so hard and was so happy that this movie was being made. Even before I thought I even had a chance in hell of being part of it, I was just grateful that someone was making a story about female friendship, and one that wasn't about them just trying to get a guy or trying to assimilate. The movie isn't about two nerdy girls who just want to go and dress up like popular girls and somehow bag the popular guy. It's not that. It's really a relationship story about friendship in what for most people is the most intimate relationship of their lives before they move on into adulthood. It's really intense, and it's something that most of us can reflect upon and think, wow, how did that friendship inform my identity and my future relationship? So we're really telling a story about these girls at this kind of pivotal, crucial point in their lives, which happens to be a really fun and exciting adventure. There's the idea that, oh, isn't it cute how much high school people care? Isn't it funny? When actually it feels like life or death. It feels like war. And I really wanted to tell this story with those stakes in mind and to approach it the same way you'd approach a high-octane action movie or war movie. I wanted it to feel like a buddy cop movie where it's about partners who have each other's backs no matter what, and that can be very different people who can support each other and sort of complete each other, but within a high-stakes environment. So, we were inspired by things like Beverly Hills Cop, Training Day, Lethal Weapon. These were what we pulled from. It wasn't approached from a place of like, oh, let's make a girl movie. It was the idea, let's make a relationship movie told in the environment of high school and be true to how high the stakes truly are in that point, in that time in our lives. Molly is one of my favorite characters I've ever read in a script, and to see what Beanie Feldstein has brought to it is incredible, because she has an innate humanity and a real inner light that makes every character she plays just shine, and you sense just a well of vulnerability beneath what she's created for Molly as a tough exterior. But it means that she's just full of love, even if she can't quite figure out how to express it, because she doesn't think she's worth being loved. And I could go on and on about Beanie, because she's a real triple threat superstar. Kaitlyn Dever plays Amy Ansler, and Kaitlyn was actually part of this project before I was. She was attached when I came on board, and I was delighted because I've always been a fan of hers. Short Term 12 was astonishing, and I loved her in Men, Women, and Children. She's just got something so special about her because she's so smart, but doesn't kind of have to work very hard to prove that. She just is smart. She has a vulnerability that is just right below the surface at all times. She has incredible comedic timing. She's so dry. She's so quick. Jason McCormick, our cinematographer, is incredible. He has taken this movie and elevated it to be something so beautiful. And we also immediately clicked. I remember the first meeting with me, Jason, and Katie Byron, the production designer. We just sat in a tiny office at Annapurna, and I said, this is the creative team right here. It all starts here, and I want you guys to be not just hired hands on this film, but my partners, my creative partners and collaborators. And we together really kind of fed and watered this story and allowed it to become something tangible. I sincerely hope that people will see this film and have a great time, because it's a great adventure movie. They'll laugh a lot. They'll have a lot of fun. I hope it makes them consider how they've perceived others, how they've judged people potentially unfairly, even themselves. I hope it makes them see others with a little more empathy. I hope it makes them appreciate the complexity of their own selves. And I hope it makes people just kind of reflect on their high school experience, whether they're in it currently or it was 40 years ago, and think that's a special time in life. And it's important to be present because those times are fleeting, and there's value to those moments and those relationships.
I play Jared. Jared is a very sweet guy who tries too hard to ever be truly cool. And he is super rich and decks himself out in all the coolest stuff that he thinks will make him accepted by his peers, which really just backfires. But in the end, you'll see that I think he's a nice guy who means well. Got the call, and I was so stoked because it's one of the things. The script is so funny, and then really all of these kids in the movie, everybody is crushing so hard, and Olivia's elevated the material in every way, even though I thought there was no more room. I thought it was already so good on the page, so it's been super duper exciting from the jump. I feel like we don't get a lot of movies like this, like these high school comedies that are so funny but also really grounded and impactful, and this whole movie's about being seen, and everybody, especially this age, just is trying on all sorts of hats and things that they think will make them accepted or cool, and this movie's about a lot of people doing that very differently, and in the end, finding some sort of acceptance, which is something I think, a lot of I and all my friends could relate to. But also on top of that, I mean, it's like hilariously funny and absurd and ridiculous and all those things. From day one, Olivia was so funny and creative, but also I've never worked with a director who gives people so much space to like do their own thing. And she'll do this thing where like she'll run up and she'll be like, hey, I know it's written like this, but I was thinking like X and Y and Z and the next thing, and I don't know, you're funny, you'll figure it out. Maybe something like this, but whatever you want to do. So she'll give you like a really funny idea, but then also be like, but whatever you want to do, you do what you want to do. And she never like asks you to reel it in or take it down, or and she's just so, she walks that line of like being there and being funny and creative and like giving you what you need. But if you're trying something out, she is so on board for like, do your thing, try out whatever you want to try out, and really encouraging. And she has elevated every scene. Every scene has become something that I was like, oh, I didn't realize it was going to be this. I thought it was going to be great, but this is like even better than I could have imagined. And to think it's her feature film directorial debut is crazy because she's crushing.
My name is Victoria and I play Ryan. She's basic. It's hard to explain. She's basically myself. I'm playing myself. She's just a skater girl. She's friends with everybody. She's just chill. It's kind of, just your average little skater girl. I like working with her, Olivia, a lot because she'll give you a script like, oh, here's this, but then when you're on set, she's like, okay, now go do it. She doesn't tell you like you have to do it like this or you got to do it like that or maybe stand like this. She totally lets you have fun with it.